Hello, West Seattle High School students. This is a video about a kind of assignment I do called How to Make a Worksheet or Make a Worksheet. So what I'm going to do is actually show you the assignment as opposed to a general instructions kind of thing, just so you get an idea of how to do this sort of assignment. All right, so when I do these, I give you a reading. In this case, it's a reading on the spread of Islam in India and Spain. So there's, your standard kind of textbooky reading with some pictures and art and all kinds of stuff like that. And so you're going to make a worksheet as opposed to do a worksheet on this reading. So the idea here is to teach you how teachers think when they make worksheets, and therefore you'll have a little easier time when you're doing worksheets or taking tests because it's basically the same skill. All right, so you're writing some questions on this reading. So I'm going to use, I guess, this version, and we'll open up the assignment here. And what this is effectively an assignment where you're going to fill in all the stuff that would be a test question or a worksheet question for that reading that I showed you in the other tab, and I'll go back to it. So the first kind of thing here is vocab matching questions. So a lot of times when you do a worksheet or a test, there'll be a vocabulary section, often at the beginning of it. And usually the teachers just want that there just so that they know that you have the main words or the difficult words in the text. And so what your job when you're doing this kind of make a worksheet assignment is find some keywords from the text, stuff that students aren't likely necessarily to know off the top of their heads, or some particularly crucial word. Sometimes you use like names and things like that, but mostly it's conceptual words like, hierarchy and secular or something like that. A word that goes to the heart of the meaning of the text that a student might not know. And then you're also going to pick a definition. And you can use like Webster's dictionary, or you can write a definition that matches what's in the text. Mainly, you just have to make sure your definition doesn't include the word itself, otherwise it's way too easy. And also that the definition actually matches the way the word was used in the text, because a lot of words have more than one definition. So you basically just have a word and the matching definition. And, you'll have some words to choose from the text, and you'll have some definitions. So obviously a teacher could just plug this into the quiz maker thing and make a multiple choice matching kind of thing. So you're just giving them the words and the definitions. So, you'd flip through the reading and find some good, crucial word that might make sense. Like influence. Like that's most people know what that word means, but it goes to something important here. And so you might find a definition for that, or untouchables perhaps. So you pick a word, pick a definition, and that would be one of the things you'll do for this kind of assignment. All right, and the second thing is, in this case, you're going to write 4 multiple choice questions, but basically I also have like a how to write a multiple choice question section on these kind of assignments, where again, you'll go through the text and find something that would make a good multiple choice question, maybe something from a map or something from the text. These kind of questions are usually pretty straightforward, like there's a question and it has a basic answer, nothing too long. So if you're doing this assignment, you write the question you'd be asking. So you're thinking like a teacher. All right, what's the question? So it's a nice question. It has to be a question that's not yes or no or true or false, because you're going to have multiple answers. And then in this place, you're literally going to just write the correct answer. So, pick a correct answer. The interesting thing are these 2 distractor answers. So when teachers write multiple choice questions, they always choose some answers that seem plausible, like believable, like that might be right. Sometimes like it's half right and half wrong. But basically you want a question that will distract, or an answer that will distract the person doing the worksheet or the test question. Because you don't want it to be too easy, so you want something that someone might fall for it. You kind of think of these as like the tricky answers, like the ones where somebody who's not paying close attention or didn't read very well might accidentally choose these. So these are the ones where you get to kind of be sneaky and something that would maybe be right but isn't. And definitely, you should only have one correct answer. So you want 2 good distractor answers when you do this as a assignment. You want one obviously wrong answer, not something absurd like, if you're answering like, in what part of India did Islam spread, you don't want an answer that says hot dog, because that's just too obviously wrong. But you want something that's like wrong. And so you could say, in Luxembourg or something like that, because that's not even in India. So an obviously wrong answer that's not absurd. And then if you do want an absurd answer, and a lot of people do, and I like writing absurd or silly answers like puns or jokes or stuff like that, you can have one of those here. So that one's optional though. You don't need to do that one. So you're going to write some test questions, multiple choice test questions. You're going to write your vocab matching question. And then the big ones, and this all usually are at the end of the test or the end of the worksheet when you're doing them. You have these kind of like short answer questions that are usually like the kind of meaty questions, the ones that you can't answer with a simple, like, something you could put in a multiple choice. So there are a bunch of different kinds of questions you could generally ask. You could do one where you, and teachers often do, write a question about like some chart or picture in the reading. So you want to get the readers to actually look at the pictures. And so you could say like, well, look, here's a picture of the Taj Mahal. Here's a picture of some people in Muslim India doing Muslim Indian things. Here's a picture of Muslim Spain soldiers with a Star of David. That's interesting. So you could ask some question about the pictures, or compare the pictures, or what do you notice about the difference between art in Muslim Spain versus art in Muslim India, that kind of thing. So you want some question, and you, when you're doing this, will write the question aiming at the chart or pictures, asking them to say something about them. And then when you're doing this as an assignment for me, you also write the answer to your question. There's another kind of question just like it, where you have them compare maps or look carefully at a map and explain how that fits the text or something. So again, some question about the map and then what the answer to the question is. These should not be like yes or no questions or like single word answers. Usually you're aiming for like a 2 or 3 sentence answer on these short answer questions. A lot of teachers, and I do all the time, ask questions like, where you ask people to prove some assertion, or like, where in this text do you find evidence for the fact that Muslims were willing to live side by side with other religions? And basically you're asking for quotes or something from the text. So that's the kind of question you could ask. And then teachers often also obviously ask like summary or overall questions for the reading. So you could say, looking at the entirety of this reading, how did Muslims treat people in the areas in which they became dominant, or something like that. So that's just kind of an overall summary question. Those are really hard as multiple choice questions, so obviously they make pretty good sense as a short answer question. When I do these, I usually just make you only do 2 of these, because I rarely ask on a worksheet for short answer questions. So when I do it, it's usually like do any 2 of these and skip the other 2. But this is basically how teachers make worksheets, and so I'm asking you to make a worksheet: vocab section, multiple choice section, and a couple of short answer questions. So that is how this assignment works. And it might be in this case about this Islam reading, but it really could be about kind of any assignment you ever do. So that is this kind of assignment explained in quite a lot of detail. Hope that was helpful. Thanks. Bye.